Hey everybody, so I know everybody's excited for what's to come, and it's the review of ECM Black, or East Coast Mesh's new black mesh line, which is supposed to be a new formula, and it's not supposed to replace the old mesh. It's supposed to be another piece of merchandise that they are selling, that they're putting out, like how Ninja Lax has their 10 diamond standard and 10 diamond heavy. It's supposed to kind of be along the same lines of offering different options for people that like different things to come from their mesh, like how some people like 6 diamonds, some people like 5 diamond, maybe even, that like Gimalax offers. They are just trying to broaden their horizons by offering different things for different people, which I think is a very smart move. I mean, you can never really have too much product. I mean, they've made thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars off of their one type of formula. I think it's a smart idea to try to branch off into doing other things. I think this is probably a stepping stone into doing other things also. So, without further ado, I'm going to start this off with the 6 diamond mesh, and that is this, or it will have this as its logo. And just a quick reading of what they like to say and what they have on the back of their cards, the header cards, that is. And it says, waterproof. Never worry about your pocket bagging out in the rain again. Our proprietary wax formula repels water, so your pocket will remain the same in the worst weather conditions. So far, I think they've pretty much lived up to that sort of standard in their original formula. Fast break-in. ECM Black requires minimal break-in time. After just 10 to 15 minutes of play, your pocket is game ready. Although on some advertisements they say it only takes 5 minutes of break-in time to play. Then again, if you're able to string correctly, you should be able to step right onto the field and play, because like I'm going to get into, there's not much of a difference between this formula and the old formula. Consistency. I know there's some issues going around with the whole consistency thing. Nobody's patented that word. Everybody, if they wanted to, everyone could say that their mesh is consistent. So I don't really care for all this boo-hooing about, oh, we stole this from that. Whatever. Moving on. Consistency. Make sure your passes and shots are on target every time. ECM Black's advanced construction and coating makes sure your stick throws the same way every time. I think what they're going for is the whole idea that it is supposed to be a little more like hard mesh. There's a post that they put up on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm pretty sure it's actually on their site. I haven't been on the site in a few days, so I'm not sure if they've updated it for that. But it basically says that the original mesh is supposed to be more like semi-soft, and the new black mesh is supposed to be semi-hard. So if you know anything about mesh, you should know what that kind of means. It means that it's going to be leaning more towards the traditional hard mesh that like Gimalax and Stringer Shack and everybody makes. It's supposed to be a little bit harder. Not by much, but just a little bit. So, without further ado, like I already said, 6 diamond mesh, or 6D mesh, or monster mesh, as a lot of old people like me like to try and call it sometimes. I have it in my Brine Encore X. I picked this up off of Sports Stop for 30 bucks, something like that, real cheap. I haven't really been able to mess with one of these heads before, so I felt obligated to spend a little bit of money and get one. So far I'm liking the head. I have it on my Purple Heart, or my Purple People Eater shaft from Fitz, just to test it out. Really, it feels good, and it's supposed to be a super light family, so it's super light, and obviously by the name. But anyway, so the mesh, it's not super hard. I mean, I've messed with the 6 diamond of the original formula. I wish I had a piece of it in order to really compare it for you guys, to really show you what I mean by what I'm talking about. But uh, just to start it off, I'm going to do a quick little ball drop, best I can. This is about a foot above the pocket. Not really the mesh that you want for face-offs. Six diamond's never really been a Fogo's go-to mesh, unless it's Gimalax's hard mesh after breaking it in a little bit. Then it's definitely pretty much on the face-off side. It can work for anybody. I like six diamond mesh. I used to use it in high school a few times, and then I just moved away from it for some reason or other. But I do have another head that has Ninja Lax 60 shooter or 6-shooter mesh in it, and I'm pretty glad that Greg sent me this to try out and to really get a range of what the formula is going to do to each of the different types of mesh. And I gotta say, it doesn't really feel, just right off the bat, opening the package, and I'm gonna probably say this for each type of mesh, I opened up the package, no tackiness, none whatsoever. There still isn't any tackiness. That's the big thing that a lot of people are saying is the difference between black and original. And I have to say that the new black mesh definitely has no tack to it, none whatsoever. It literally feels like it's just traditional mesh, just performance mesh. And I can't tell you enough just how much it doesn't feel like wax mesh. You pick up a piece from Blatant Mesh, Chillax Customs, Original ECD, Throne Mesh. You pick up any of their stuff, and it's gonna feel a little waxy. It's gonna feel like there's something there. This one, Greg is not lying when he says that it's a completely different formula. It doesn't have, like, I'm sure some people have noticed that the original kind of has a weird little scent to it, which is just the chemicals. It's not going to cause any issues. But so with this one, there's no tackiness. I have to say that the consistency ratio is very much true, at least for the 60. I've hit the wall a few times with it, and I took a few shots and kind of put it through its paces since it's been snowing around here. And I gotta say, so far, the 6D is definitely living up to the name of Monster Mesh. And there's not much else to say besides the fact, that it strings up well. It's not hard to stretch. It reaches each of the spots pretty well. And if anybody's really wondering what I did with this top string, I didn't really do like how some people try to do a triangle top string with a 6D, because the holes on the Encore X don't exactly meet up to where I wanted them to. So I had to improvise by kind of going off a little bit, and it's not entirely a functional triangle top string, because a real triangle top string, this little ring right here, is supposed to actually go up and around the mesh as well as this black piece of string. And that's a functional triangle top string. This one is really for just appearances. The only piece of string there that's really doing anything to pull it up is the black piece. But so I thought it just looked cool, and I decided to do that since it's the presentation of this mesh for you guys. Now, pulling it and everything, it stretches good. It doesn't really compromise the integrity of the mesh for the 60, at least the formula doesn't anyway. I don't really have any complaints so far about the 60. 60 is very solid. A lot of people don't like 60 because it does blah blah blah. If you know what you're doing with any piece of mesh, you're going to be able to string it up the way that you want. So 60, I have to give a 9 out of 10. I know I give high marks for people's stuff, but I usually don't post a review unless I feel it's actually a legitimately good product. I try to lean away from giving you guys the negatives, well, at least the negative products, like just mesh from two kids that came up with a formula and said, hey, can you test our stuff? I try not to post that stuff so that you guys don't think that I'm just doing whatever. I'm trying to give you guys decent reviews of quality products. So 9 out of 10, 6D mesh from East Coast dyes, and it's the new black. So it's definitely something to pick up. It throws, catches, and everything like as if it's traditional 6D mesh. So there's no tackiness whatsoever. So if you're looking for a little bit more hold, I'd have to say that you guys should probably go with the original formula that they use on 6D, because that tackiness gives you a little bit more hold. I wouldn't say it's like glue or anything like that, but it definitely gives a very minuscule but noticeable amount of hold over what this will give you, even though this will give you decent hold. So that's 6D. Next up is going to be 20 millimeter ECM Black mesh. I strung up a piece of this in a Ghost 7 that I got in recently for Neil Miller, an Australian that I've probably talked about a few times, that I've done a lot of stringings for on Instagram. A lot of stringings that I've done for him. And so I decided to throw this piece in there because I haven't really given him many mesh pockets, and I know this head's probably going to get a little bit of use. So, I mean, Greg gave me this mesh to try and put out knowledge, and I might as well spread the knowledge by giving this mesh to Neil. But so, once again, upon opening the package for 20 mil, I was pretty surprised by how non-tacky it was. I full on expected it to be a little, to feel waxy. It came out, and no, there's no waxiness. There's no what am I looking for here? Flaking. There is none. No flaking. Same with the 6D. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. There's no flaking whatsoever. And if you're wondering if it's soft, it's fairly soft. I have a piece of the original 20 mil. I'll show you that in a second. But so it strings up very easily. It stretches out. Very pliable. I probably should have had the other piece that I have available to show you what it looks like when it's stretching out and stuff. It holds its shape amazingly well, just like the original ECM mesh or ECD mesh. The top was fairly easy to string. Didn't really have to pull super tight. I'm going to be doing a couple tutorials later, so don't worry. There's going to be a few tutorials on how to do maybe 2 or 3 different types of top strings where it's actually flush with the plastic for a Tribe 7 Ghost 7 or Scepter 7. So I'm probably going to do the tutorial on the Scepters that I have available. But so I didn't really have any trouble stringing it up. There's definitely enough length to it, 'cause sometimes you get 20 mil pieces from people and it's not long enough for the same sort of pocket that you want, say from a 15 mil mesh. But so the softness is ridiculous. I'll give you a real quick demonstration. Another ball drop, and it dropped. And this is I put this on a shaft, and I threw maybe a few times. I did 1 or 2 draws on the carpet because I didn't want to damage the head, just to see how the mesh reacts. And I gotta say, it's pretty much the same as the original formula. If you're a face-off man, you're not gonna be too disappointed with the fact that the new formula is supposed to make the mesh a little bit stiffer, and it doesn't really make a difference to me that I've seen with this mesh. So the 20 mil is pretty much spot on. I just showed you a drop test for that. I have my O'Brady head, which has pretty well used 20 mil. I haven't really used it for face-offs or anything like that because I don't want to mess up my head, but I do know that this mesh is pretty much as close to new as in comparison to most people's mesh. But here's a quick ball drop test, and this is the original formula. This is mesh from last year, from late spring, early summertime, that my girlfriend got me, and it's very very similar. So the 20 mil ECM Black isn't quite as soft, but it's not going to make a difference. You don't have to move away from using East Coast dyes, 20 mil mesh. You can switch over. I believe that you can switch over from the original to the black easily if that's what you want to do. If you're interested in using the 20 mil from East Coast dyes, I suggest you try it because it's very similar. There's no real change in consistency, strength, softness. It's not even probably 10% harder. I just showed you what the ball drop test does to it. It's practically the same. I say if you're trying to if the original formula isn't really doing it for you, switch over to the black, and I'm pretty sure you'll be very well satisfied with it. So 20 mil, I'm gonna have to stay with what I had for the O'Brady heads 20 mil mesh, and I'm gonna have to give it a 9, a solid 9 out of 10. I mean, it could be a little bit softer, but since it's the new formula and they're using the same formula for all the different types of mesh, it makes sense, and which is why I'm pretty well satisfied with it. If I was still a face-off man, I would probably use this in tandem with using a traditional strung pocket, because if you do a traditional strung pocket the right way, it's going to be pretty soft. So 20 mil ECM Black, 9 out of 10. Next up, that's going to bring us to the final piece that they have in stock for field players, not goalies, because I didn't get any goalie pieces because I'm not really a goalie guy, and that's probably going to go to Mad Laxer or somebody. But so it's going to be 15 millimeter, everybody's bread and butter when it comes to mesh, and definitely East Coast dyes bread and butter, which is just a saying that means that's what they've been making their money off of. That's what pretty much everybody's been using. So this is a shaft that I got in for testing. There will be a video completely about the shaft, so don't worry and don't ask any questions about it, because there will be a video all about it, just the shaft eventually. So this is my my own personal Under Armour Unleashed high school version head, and brand new. Got it with the Encore X. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably would have known that. It's 15 mil. Everybody knows should know how a 15 millimeter mesh feels. It's a little bit harder than 20 mil. It's supposed to be the same size as traditional hard mesh, and I gotta say it's pretty much met that standard in most aspects. Now, when it comes to stiffness, tackiness, and everything, I opened up the package. Once again, was very surprised by how dry and just clean feeling it felt. There was no waxiness, there was no flaking, just like with the other two pieces. None whatsoever. Sometimes you get a piece of wax mesh and like maybe a couple little bits come off. Didn't happen with these. I was stringing them up in my bed just because I was tired and it was pretty much time to go to bed, trying to go to sleep, but my mind was still a little bit racing, so I decided to string them all up, and I didn't get any flakes on me or in my bed, so whatever. It was very easy to stretch out, just like with the original. The original was very easy to pry apart. Well, pry is a little too hard of a word, but you know what I mean. To really just pull it apart and stretch it out, and it held its shape very well. A lot of people say that the original 15 millimeter doesn't really hold its shape as much as they would want it to. At least that's what people have told me about it, and I can kind of see what they mean. And with the new 15 millimeter ECM Black, I have to say that they've probably squashed that issue where it does not you don't have to worry about the pocket really changing its shape. It's almost like you're using say the original Duramesh that you used to get in a factory strung STX head, like an old Proton or an old Profile or a Bionic, where if you were trying to punch it in, your hand would probably get really scratched up. And if you ball and knifed it and watered it and left it overnight to dry, once it dried, pretty much looked like how you had the ball in there, and it's just solid. It's solid as a rock. That's pretty much what the new 15 mil ECM Black looks like. Like it, once you put it into that pocket shape, it's gonna stay there because it's supposed to be what they said, semi-hard mesh. It's supposed to pretty much be their semi-hard version of what they produce, and it's met that standard. The whole term of consistency is very, very true and apparent with the new 15 millimeter. And when I was throwing on the wall, I didn't really have any issues. It felt exactly the same. I was trying to do the same exact technique over and over and over again to really get a consistently similar throw every single time, to really get the best out of testing it. So I'm a very technical person, so I just was doing it over and over and over and over again, and the consistency is definitely there. There's no tackiness. It feels dry, strings up very well. I have an original piece in my Evo 3 that I'll show you in a second. But so I'll do a ball drop test for this too. Maybe a little bit softer than the 60, but so it's definitely not your mesh for face-offs. If you're a face-off man, 15 millimeter ECM Black would not be a good choice for you. If you're an attackman and you like your solid, non-shifty pocket that once you string it in to, say, a low pocket, mid pocket, high pocket, or whatever position that you would actually want that sort of preference, and you just want it to feel like there's a rock, which most people call a ball, that there's just a rock, solid and unmoving in your pocket, ECM Black 15 millimeters probably your way to go if you're an East Coast Dies product user. Now, I'll show you what it looks like with a ball drop real quick with the original formula. This is the original, and it's basically the same, right? Dropped it from about a foot, pretty much the same amount of damage, if you will, to the mesh as the new ECM Black. But if you have, say, the same exact head, I have, I think, one more piece of 15 millimeter ECM Black to really string up. I'm probably going to get another Evo 3, string them both up exactly the same, and probably do another video, a follow-up video of this one to really give you an inside look on how they perform in comparison to each other. But so far with my testing, there's really not much of a difference when it comes to performance, when it comes to passing, catching, shooting. You couldn't get much more similar than what you already have. Like I said, the tackiness not being there probably doesn't give you I can't even talk tonight. It probably doesn't give you people that are loyal to East Coast Dies the same exact hold that the tacky mesh would. So it's definitely something that you should try by trying the new East Coast Dies ECM Black. But if you like more hold and so on and so forth, I say you stay with the old East Coast mesh. The thing that I have noticed though is that the old formula kind of gets a little dirty faster, and I've had a couple people go on and tell me the same thing. This new ECM Black, I had them in the snow, so, and it wasn't exactly clean snow. and walls are dirty, and if you're in the snow, the ball's going to be wet, so if you hit the wall, it's going to take whatever dirt with it when it comes back in the stick. Now I definitely did wipe down the heads because I don't always like a dirty head, and so the mesh really didn't get dirty. The shooting strings, they got a little dirty, but the mesh, water came right off of it. There wasn't really any dirt on it. It might still get a little dirty depending on how much you use it. I don't really get into the mud anymore like I used to, so I probably don't get as much use out of the mesh as a lot of you guys probably do. So far I have to say that ECM Black definitely doesn't get as dirty as the original does, at least to me. It might seem a little different to all of you, but to each his own, really. But so the 15 millimeter ECM Black, I have to give another solid 9 out of 10. They definitely hit the mark with what they were trying to go for, and so that pretty much gives it so that I've pretty much given a 9 out of 10 across the board for all three types of their field mesh. I mean, I don't really have much else to say besides, if you really want to know what it's like, go get a piece. Don't keep asking questions to people. The only way you are really going to know how a product works, what it does, how it strings, is if you get up off your butt and go get that product. I can only answer so many questions so many times, and it's not like I'm getting annoyed by answering questions about the mesh. I'm completely fine with it, but it's just one of those things where you really have to get up, go get the mesh, or even use it that somebody else has. If somebody else has that mesh, be like, hey, can I see your stick for a second? Let me throw with it for a second. I'm thinking about getting this mesh. Get out there, try the stuff. Don't just sit there and be like, oh, I'm going to try and save money. Just sell it to somebody if you don't like it. I believe there is some sort of warranty on it. It's just like any product. If you don't like it, you can always more than likely return it. So don't think that, oh, if I buy it, I can't bring it back. Most places will probably take it back. I don't know. I've always really just stuck with the mesh once I got it because I wasn't one of those privileged lacrosse players where I could go out and be like, hey, Mom, I'm going to let's go get a stick. No, I was pretty much stuck with what I had when I had it, and I had to make do with it. So I feel that you guys should probably do the same thing when it comes to this mesh. I have some other stuff that I'm going to be doing soon, so I'm going to try and cut this off. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. I definitely recommend ECM Black to anybody that's willing to try it. 15 mil, 20 mil, 60. If that's the kind of mesh that you use, I'm going to stop trying to use that word. I guarantee, to the best of my ability anyway, that you will be satisfied with this mesh. If I've described it in any way that I think I have, that it's something that you want, then why not try it? Why not? So 9 out of 10 across the board for ECM Black field mesh pieces. I'm going to get out of here. I got some stuff to do. If you guys have questions, leave them. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video so everybody knows, hey, there's actually a review out there now besides having to go and read it. I know I've been going on a little while. It's about 30 minutes so far of me talking. But hey, when I'm passionate about something, I talk about it. If anybody actually has met me or talked to me, they know that if I actually get to talking about something, I'll just keep talking about it. So I'll let you guys go. You have a good rest of your night. I'll catch you later.